So why this series? If we look at figures in Switzerland, and this is a very recent article which was published in the newspaper Tagesanzeiger, the second biggest newspaper in Switzerland and in Zurich. And burnout and stress account for 6.5 billion a year. In Europe, according to European Trade Union Institute, it is 617 billion a year. And if we look at worldwide figures, this is even more, as you can imagine. So there is definitively a reason why something has to happen. And this is not only a responsibility, I would say, of every company to offer, let's say, programs, techniques so that their employees can remain in a perfect state of health. It is also, and above all, I would say, our own responsibility. So one practice I'd like to introduce here is this one you see on the screen. You identify your top priorities, and then you work in this so-called 50-minute sprints with a 10-minute reset. Okay, when I speak about this like in this manner, it seems very technical, yet there is another invitation from me regarding this. When you are at your workplace, concentrating, I am fully aware that there is a lot of stress and pressure, and sometimes it's not possible. Yet pay attention to the signals your body is sending you. And if you become aware to really pay attention to these signals, you will yourself feel within your body that after a certain period of time, a certain number of minutes, it can be 15, can be 16, can be 80 minutes, your body tells you something. This is then the time to take a break. This break must not be 10 minutes. It can be simply standing up, going out for a minute and come back. This will completely reset your brain, which is exactly what is needed. But I've skipped the first slide, which is this one. I researched on this, and I've decided each time to present nevertheless a cause about stress. And the highest is this one. It is a high workload and the time pressure. So you can ask yourself how often you feel overwhelmed, as if also these deadlines and tasks would never stop chasing you. This is really also a question for you to reflect on. Below, there is the source. Later, after this webinar, you will be receiving a recording and also the presentation. So this was the first practice, which I know, I am fully aware you can find out anywhere else. But now, this is my personal practice. And I'd like again to change the view. And I call this practice for myself the love codes. And I see on my screen, Michelle, I hope you see me, because now you should look at me. And I'm going to increase this picture of myself. Okay. So I came upon this practice thanks to a friend of mine who, in the meantime, passed away. Nevertheless, she offered me this book called The Healing Code by Alex Lloyd. And at that time, I was also in a very, very challenging situation in my life. I read this book from A to Z, and I practiced. And since then, I have never stopped practicing this. Okay, maybe people are going to ask me, Simone, are there any scientific evidence about this technique? And I researched on that, and there are none. So you will have to trust what I'm going to tell you. And I can also tell you that many, many people who have already worked with me have learned about this technique, which I practice every night. And it is extremely effective. So these love codes, there are 3 positions on your body. And I'm going to show you now the first one. You will put your 2 hands on your chest. Can you see that? because I cannot see myself right now. You put your two hands on your chest, and then you silently, lovingly, I would love to say, move them in a circle. If you start clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. This is your choice. And you feel that your skin is being also slightly moved. So you do this. I will explain why this position later. This is the first position. So you circle like this for a while, and then you change direction. So if you started clockwise, now you go counterclockwise, and you continue. And then you change again direction. So if you may, you can close your eyes for 1 or 2 minutes, because I will let you know when I show you the second position. And you do it gently. So I'm aware that you may not feel now all the benefits, because this is not the most beneficial situation to do it, but when you will exercise yourself, and you can do it at your workplace, if you withdraw for a while from your office, you can do it at home, of course, and you can do it sitting or standing or lying. So now I'm going to show you the second position. The second position is on your forehead. And you repeat exactly the same movements. And some of you who have joined today, I know you have already worked with me, and you have already learned about this technique. But the reason why I've decided to start with this one, it is because I've been using it for, I wrote it 15 years, and I still do it every day. And now the last position, you put your two hands on the top of your head, and you repeat these movements. So you feel that the skin on top of your head is also slightly moving while you do these circles gently in a smooth manner, and then in one direction and then in the other direction. So you might ask, why these three positions and why are they so effective? The first one here on the chest. And now I am also speaking about another kind of knowledge, I would say, and another kind of healing techniques. This is energy work. And here, where we have the first position, we have an energy center, a very specific energy center, which is not one of the 7 chakras you may certainly all know. No. This is an energy center where the cosmic energy and the earth energy cross, rejoin in our body. It is a very, very powerful energy center. Later down the road, on this path of, let's say, wisdom and knowledge, I speak about universal wisdom and knowledge. You will also experience and learn that this is a so-called intention energy center. Extremely powerful. The second position here on your forehead. This is where we have, if I speak now this language, this is where we have the so-called third eye. This is again using an expression from another tradition originating from the East, and you all know this expression, yet. In shamanic tradition, this eye we have here is called the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye. And it means exactly this. From this center here, with your perception and awareness, you can see everything with closed eyes. And the people who have already got to know me, they know that I love owls, the bird, the owl. So I say that from this center here, an energy center, you can see like the owl. The third position here, this is the so-called crown chakra. But what is it exactly? It is the place from which or into which all the information flowing from the field surrounding us, which scientifically has now been called the quantum field, but if we speak another language, let's say the wisdom language, this field is also called the source, or the great vibration, or the great loving principle, or one mind. So from this place here, from this energy center, this is from, it is here that all the information which we can obtain from the field enter into our body. So extremely important. So my invitation regarding this second practice, which is really mine, and I'm going to tell you how I do it. I do it every night, absolutely every night. And I do it when I lie in my bed, close my eyes, and do it. Start always here, here, and here. Now a question may come, how many minutes, how long? Well, when I learned about these techniques, it was said 4 minutes per position. But this is only a start. Then you will be attentive to what your body tells you, and you will know, okay, here I am done. I move to the next one, and then I move to the next one. And what is going to happen? And you might be amazed. I was amazed. Sometimes you go to bed, you lie down, you start doing this, and you may have the impression, well, my day was fully okay. I had no specific stress. Yet, you may experience that tears will roll. And I can tell you because it does indeed happen. I've heard it from many people. This is simply your body releasing all the tensions you have registered over the day without being really aware that this was happening. So this is something you may experience. Another benefit of this practice is that you fall asleep beautifully well and fast. And sometimes you may not even be finished. You're already nearly gone. So to release stress, to release any tension in your body, so far, this is certainly one of the most powerful techniques I have ever experienced. And this is why, still today, every night, I use it. This is my invitation for you. You can also do it at work. If you have had a meeting and there was a lot of tension, then you go out, you find a space private for yourself and you do it, you will feel immediately the benefit. It is really releasing, discharging, I would love to say, your system of any tension you may have experienced. So this is really, for me, an invitation for you to practice. And I'd like you now, so to reflect how you will implement this and how can you implement this in your daily life, and when will you begin. And at this stage, I'd like to take a couple of seconds without speaking, because I'd like you to really reflect and take a decision. When will you commit to start doing this for yourself? This is a commitment you take for yourself and your own well-being. It is extremely simple and extremely powerful. One last story about this practice. This is about a person who had experienced a burnout. And to come back to, let's say, a healthy state of being, she had to spend a couple of months in a clinic. She received a lot of medication. She was healed, came back home. Yet sometimes at night she would wake up again. And since the reason why she had this burnout was that she could no longer sleep. When she woke up after this whole treatment, she nearly fell into a stressful situation. And this is when I spoke to her about this method. And she started using it at night when these situations where she woke up happened. And she would fall back to sleep easily without any medicaments, because she didn't want to have to swallow medicaments anymore. So this is to tell you how powerful this technique is. Then, one more information. If you are more interested to look into it, you can also refer to the book of the person who brought this technique into the world. His name is Alexander Lloyd. He was at a certain point of his life diagnosed with ALS, which is MS multiplied by I don't know how many. 80% of the people who experience this no longer live. He knew about this because he's a doctor. He stopped everything, went out into the world searching for another technique, and this is what he brought to life. And today he's still with us writing this book and other books. So this is another invitation for you to reflect. What would your life look like if you gave the same care to your inner world as you give to your outer roles and responsibilities? I really would love you to take these questions, these reflective questions with you. And then I have another one. I am here broadening because over the next weeks, I'm going to introduce elements of universal wisdom, which will definitively contribute to a greater or regaining well-being in your life. So if we consider what is the first breath, the universe began in a breath of expansion, which scientists have called the Big Bang. In all traditions worldwide, this expression Big Bang is expressed in a different manner. I take a simple one, which is known to everyone, Om. So our breath is the same reason. We inhale what stars released, and we exhale into our tomorrow. So right now, another reflection question: what is the breath of your own existence creating right now? Why this question? If you want to live the life you want, truly, you need to know who you are, and you need to understand what is existence. This second reflective question is a first, let's say, information about whom we truly are. So time has elapsed. To close, I'd like to remember this, or to remind you this: your well-being is your greatest asset. Practice with intention, and every day. Our path will continue next week. And an extremely powerful technique to come back to a state of health, well-being, is gratefulness. So reflect for 2 seconds and ask yourself today, I am grateful for what? If you end your day with gratefulness, you will start your next day with gratefulness as well.